Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton?
Here.
Trustee Dodge?
Here.
Trustee Calandrella? Here. Trustee Healy?
Here.
Trustee Katsinas? Here. Trustee Malani?
Here.
Mayor Pico?
Here.
Please rise for pledge. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of July 20th, 2020 regular meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Fenton.
move to approve the minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting of July 20th, 2020.
Second. Any changes? Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrella?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Mayor Pico?
Aye.
Keith for Mayor Raffle license.
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Malani.
I move to approve issuing a raffle license to Keith for Mayor to sell raffle tickets from August 4th, 2020 through August 31st, 2020 for their fundraising event to take place at Crystal Tree Golf Club on August 31st, 2020 at 6 p.m.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Dodge.
I have some questions for staff, George or Dennis Walsh, or attorney. So, if I'm not mistaken, we haven't granted a raffle license for any political funds before, correct?
I don't know the answer to that.
All right. I think there's some open issues in my mind that I'd like you both to address them. If I read the application right, and if I read our existing code base, I'm pretty sure it's chapter 16, 7-16, et cetera. There's a very specific set of criteria for allowing this, and I'm not certain that this applies. And, you know, Mr. Walsh, we had this conversation earlier. You said there may be issues with the state law. Can you take me through that again and explain it?
Well, the Raffles Act deals with what is basically in our ordinance. Our ordinance basically mirrors what the state law is, except for political committees. In state law, there is a specific section in the statute in the Raffles Act that allows for political committees to receive a raffle license.
Okay.
Our ordinance doesn't prohibit it. It's basically silent on the issue.
So in a case like that, state law rules, there's no home rule exemption or issues in terms of a local ordinance taking precedence. State law is the one that governs here?
Our local ordinance is silent on the issue with respect to political committees.
So what does that mean practically? State law rules?
Apply.
Okay. That state law requires a license to be granted by the State Board of Elections. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so if that's the case, there's some issues then with our ordinance as it applies here, and there are some technical issues with the application, but I guess my question for you is, if ultimately our ordinance is silent and state law governs, should we even be voting on this?
Sure. I mean, it's before the board, so yes, I would say you should probably vote on it.
May I have your recommendation as to how do I deal with the specific issues with the application, age of the organization, when it was filed, when the raffle is active? I'm just trying to get a handle on, if you're saying, in your opinion, state law governs and our ordinance really doesn't apply, which should I hew to in terms of my vote?
I'm saying that our ordinance is silent on the issue with respect to political committees and the rights to get a raffle under our ordinance. Doesn't address it either way. Doesn't prohibit it, doesn't necessarily allow it either. It's quiet. You may want to change the ordinance at some point. I think there's a concern from a constitutional standpoint as to if we're going to try and ban political committees from getting raffles. I think I'd be a little bit concerned about the constitutionality of that, so we'd have to look at that carefully. But right now, what we have is a silent ordinance, local ordinance on that particular issue, and a state law that says they're entitled to get it.
So we're clear, and for the full board, I have every intention of, if you're saying state law says that governs, there's no reason to stop this. But I just want to make sure that it's okay that this application in front of us doesn't meet the other requirements in our ordinance. Timeliness and age of the organization, set aside the subtleties and nuance of a political fund, and et cetera. So I don't have a problem with this. I just wanted to make sure that we do this well. In fact, I would ask the board if they would consider that we direct staff to put this on a future committee of the whole to address these issues.
Yeah, the 5-year, maybe you're referring to the 5-year rule, which is these businesses and organizations have to be established for at least 5 years before they're entitled to get a raffle license. That's true under state law as well. That's what I mean by our ordinance basically mirrors that part of the state law. So, but the state law doesn't have that kind of requirement for political committees.
Okay, so again, I have no issue with any political entity in town raising money. That's not the issue. I just want to make sure what I'm hearing you right is if I vote to say yes to this tonight, then it's okay, given that this did not meet the current letter of our law.
Yes.
Okay. Mayor Peacock, extending my comments, I guess I'd ask if the board would consider we put this on a future committee whole to tighten up this ordinance and make it fully compliant with state law.
Any objections?
Nope.
It's fine with me. Any objections?
Nope.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Calandrello.
I just have a question for staff, or maybe Clerk Mahalik. Does anyone, other than getting the application, stamping it received, who checks it to make sure? I know Trustee Dodd said some questions, and I fully support giving this raffle license and have no issues with it. But does anyone, because I know we had this issue before where I don't think client or attorneys review everything, which that would be costly if they do, but who reviews it other than a stamp in the clerk's office saying received?
So whenever so 99% of these are routine applications. And so whenever there's something outstanding, the personnel in the clerk's office will reach out to the attorney to get guidance.
Okay, and John, is that how your office works? That if there's a question, they reach out to the attorney?
I hear you, Dan.
I was just saying, is that how your office works, is when they receive a raffle license, they think it's routine, they have?
Yeah, we execute it with consult the attorney. That's it.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Malani.
Couple things. First of all, I find it kind of odd that we would try and restrict a political committee that would have to be in long standing of 5 years or more. That would kind of restrict how people could raise money to run for an election, especially if they're a brand new political candidate. So that really doesn't make much sense why we restrict that. But second of all, I think everything that we've talked about goes right along with the ISBE guidelines that they provide and Section 8.1 of the state code. So I don't even know why we're having this discussion.
Any other comments? Call the roll.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Fenton?
Aye.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Abstain.
Mayor Pico?
Abstain. Motion carries 5-0.
Accounts payable from July 21st, 2020 to August 3rd, 2020.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the accounts payable from July 21st, 2020 to August 3rd, 2020 in the amount of $2,010,364.28. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Fenton?
Aye.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello?
Aye.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Mayor Pico?
Aye.
Consent agenda?
Consent agenda, item A, payroll for July 24th, 2020 approval. Item B, amend Midwestern Higher Education Compact MHEC Cooperative Purchase Technology Contract from Dell Marketing LP for purchase of 3 additional laptops. Consent. Item C, second addition to Orland Woods Phase 2 annexation ordinance. Item D, second addition to Orland Woods Phase 2 rezoning and variance ordinance. Item E, Tyler Technologies, Inc., computer-aided dispatch and record system annual maintenance fee purchase. I'll entertain a motion to approve items A through E of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Fenton?
Aye.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrella?
Aye.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Mayor Pico?
Aye.
Municipal fleet assessment.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Fenton.
move to approve a proposal from Mercury Associates, Inc. to perform a municipal fleet assessment of Rockville, Maryland, at a cost of $80,900 plus 10% contingency, and move to approve the additional proposal from Optimal Replacement Cycle Analyst, ORCA, at a cost of $6,480, and to authorize the village manager to approve change order not to exceed the contingency amount.
Second.
Any questions or comments on the fleet assessment? So just for the record, there are two bidders here, and Matrix, both myself and the staff and everybody else that was involved in the RFP process, we all agreed that they don't really have the resources, they're not putting the resources necessary to fulfill the demands of the RFP. And being in this business, I can tell you the first thing I saw when I saw the number of hours is there's absolutely no way they can do the work in that time frame unless they just pull stuff off the shelf and give us something that's regurgitated from that they've done before. And that does not work for the village, and what we need, our needs are specific to the village. I think George pointed out that Mercury specializes in this type of work and has a work plan and associated staffing that actually made sense to me when I saw it. When I thought about how I would approach this, they kind of were very close to that as far as their total staffing. So, George, you have anything to add?
The only thing I'd add is this is a very, it's a long overdue project for the municipality. I mean, our fleet is obviously very important. We're a service provider, and fleet's one of those tools. This is going to be a very comprehensive overview of our entire fleet operation. The number of vehicles, our replacement schedule, our life cycle for the vehicles. And it's going to, I think, at the end of the day, the product that we're going to have is we're going to have something that we are going to use as a guide for the next 10, 15 years as we cycle through our vehicles so that we minimize costs and get the most value out of our vehicles. So this is going to be a very, very good project for us.
All right. Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrella?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Mayor Pico?
Aye.
Orland Ridge developer name change.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Healy.
I move to approve the Orland Ridge developer name change from S.R. Jacobson to OPR Home LLC. Second.
Are there any questions or comments? Call the roll.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Trustee Fenton?
Aye.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrella?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Mayor Pico?
Aye.
Centennial Park West free concerts.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Healy.
I move to approve hosting 2 free concerts, both with a drive-in viewing option on August 22nd, 2020 and September 12th, 2020. Second.
George, can you give us just a little bit of background on this, and then?
Absolutely. So as the board knows, that we had 2 concerts that were slated, paid concerts. And due to circumstances beyond our control, the paid acts rescheduled to next year. So in lieu of that, we were going to do a free concert series, and it's going to incorporate the drive-in option that was discussed previously. So Centennial Park West is where we'll still hold it. The parking lot will be set up so that folks can enjoy the concert in the parking lot. We will still have the grass area as an option for anybody that wants to just stay on the grass. We'll do the same thing we did for the taste with all the social distancing measures. So at the end of the day, although we can't do the big paid concerts, we could still do the free concerts.
Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Healy?
I have two comments. First of all, I think that when I first saw this on the thing, I was hoping that the social distancing would be observed and that after the weekend, the social distancing measures taken by staff were remarkably well done. Not only by staff, but by the people participating in too. It was, the people here did a great job of, adhering to the logistics put out by the staff. So with that, I think I look forward to the next ones. And my second comment is for the people that weren't there at the end of the night, the three trustees who were there, and the mayor and I, went to the gate and to say goodbye to people and thank them for coming to the event. And the look in these people's eyes and that they were happy and gave great reviews, great comments. One person said, "You've made my whole summer." It's like, it was really heartfelt, and the messaging you get can't be done through a text or an email or electronically. These people were thankful for that thing. So I'm looking forward to the concerts and the drive-in viewing option. I mean, I think it's, we'll see how that, I think it'd be a great time to test that out too. So I'm all for it.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Fenton?
I'd rather see us take the money that we're going to spend on these two events, even though they're free to the residents and whoever else is not a tax-paying person, to come to the events. I'd rather see the money go to bigger and better events for next year. And just because, I mean, that's the way I feel, especially with the reports that came out today about the fact that all these large gatherings are just creating more and more spread of the virus. And there again, that's just my opinion. I believe in masks. A lot of people don't believe in masks either. So, but that's where I'd rather see the money go. Just put it into whatever we were going to spend this year, add it to whatever we were going to spend in 2021.
Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Calandrello?
I don't know if this would be in a form of amendment, but I feel like this may be a safer event if it's only the drive-through format. So I don't know if, since it's not an official, I guess I would just make an amendment to insert that it would be with drive-in viewing only. So striking out both with, so it should read, I move to hosting 2 free concerts with drive-in viewing option only on August 22nd, 2020 and September 12th, 2020. I think that's a safe, proper way to social distance, and it's been proven to be a safe way. So I would make a motion to amend.
Do I hear a second? The motion fails for lack of a second. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, just, I guess, continuing my comments, I just think this is going to be just twofold. I'm not going to repeat myself because I've been a strong advocate for safety and these canceling these events, but the funds we use today can be used for next year, and I think it's $8 million based on COVID that we're going to be losing. And the second is safety. The reason why the bands canceled, the main point per their email was safety for them and the band members. There was a second point about the travel bans and the quarantine, but the first point was this is a safety issue. So based on the experience of the entertainers thinking it's a safety issue, I believe it still is, and I was trying to be flexible where I think a drive-in section could have worked and been a safe experience, but no one on this board would second me. And I respect that, but that was just my opinion. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Mayor Pecan?
Trustee Dodge?
I'll make it as a formal motion. I would move that we defer all these types of events scheduled for 2020 into 2021 with the specific goal of saving the money, spending it all next year, making bigger events. So I'll make that as a formal motion.
So you're amending this motion?
Correct.
Fair second on the amendment?
Second.
Any questions or comments on the amended? So I will comment on the amendment. I think that we should continue to do the events that we've been doing. I think every step till normalcy, to quote one of our trustees, is an important step, and I think the taste was, as Trustee Healy pointed out, was so well done, as have been our July 4th, as have been our markets on the park. I think we've been doing a great job with it. They've been well received, and we should continue to do that. Call a roll on the amendment to defer all of the rest of the events for the year to next year and use the money towards next year's events. So that would effectively cancel all, a yes vote effectively cancels all the events for this year. Call a roll.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
No.
Trustee Katsinas.
No.
Trustee Malani.
No.
Mayor Pico.
No, motion fails. Any other questions or comments on the main motion?
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Malani.
Just to, kind of recap, I mean, we're already providing.
Can you speak in the microphone? I know it's a little different place.
Sorry. I know we've already provided a safe environment to view the concerts, similar to what we've done at the Taste this weekend and, what we started with on the 4th. I think we managed to improve our model. And I think the drive-in option actually adds a great option for people that are uncomfortable being outside at the concert venue. So we give something for everybody. When we talked about the drive-in, I think we talked about having, 2 spaces to provide social distancing, so I think that's good as well. So they'll be able to get out there with their chairs and their coolers and have a good time just like everybody else sitting out on the grass. And, we've already, decided to do this with other events. We already decided to have a series of drive-in movies using the same format. And I think these type of events provide a great night out for our families. I mean, Romeoville recently did movies. They're actually doing it in Chicago parks. And they even have done things like partner with concessions and different companies to provide food and drinks for these outdoor events with the drive-in options. So, and drive-in theaters are also making a comeback as well, and more are opening across the area. So I think moving forward with this in this format, both on site, on the grass, and the drive-in is a great option. So thanks for putting the idea together.
Any other comments?
Mayor Pico?
Trustee Dodge.
Appreciate the sincerity and candor of the comments that were made. I believe it was Trustee Healy who said that you had some great feedback the other day at Taste. Certainly needs to be appreciated and respected, that advice. I've also talked to a lot of folks in Orland Park that see this through the lens of they personally aren't comfortable with these types of events, despite all the precautions that are taking. So I think that's an important factor. And I've had more than a few residents ask me about the sheer finances. So I have no doubt that we would do as safe event as possible. For me, this is strictly about, I would much prefer to have bigger events next year when, God willing, as a nation, we're past all of the early stage disaster that's befallen us, which is COVID-19.
Okay. Any other comments? Before calling the vote, Trustee Calandrello, to your comments, I'll just, I guess my point on this is that a drive-in option and a walk-in option gives people the choice. And I know we've talked about this before, and I know that other trustees have said, hey, we're giving people the choice. So we're giving people an option, and we've proven that the walk-in option, we can do it safely because we have several times. As far as the band's concerns for their own safety, whether they were playing to people out at the parking lot or playing to people inside the stands or inside the venue itself, the fencing is so far off. What was the closest that they get to the stage? 40 feet? or so. So that's as close as they get. So there's no interaction with any of the crowd whatsoever. So the band members are just with themselves. So there's no increased risk to any of them. And again, we're gonna implement that pod system. And I appreciate the concerns about financials, and keep in mind that we budget conservatively to begin with, and these concerts were projected to lose about $360,000, assuming that we had poor, not as good a ticket sales as last year. So I think we would have done better than that without all of what's going on, but so be it. In April, the cost to cancel, which some people wanted to cancel and were demanding it would have been about $211,000. And so now, because we marketed carefully and conservatively, knowing that these things were changing, the cost for planning these concerts that we projected is about, we had said it would be about $70,000 to cancel everything. This is actually going to be about $90,000 to do 2 concerts. So we're still $270,000 less than what we originally budgeted. So we are saving a significant amount of money in our budget, but we're still putting on events for our residents, which I think is important. I think we saw it in people's eyes and how they felt at the time of the show over the Taste of Orland. I think they really enjoyed being out, and I do think that every step to normalcy is an important one. With that, call the roll.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
No?
Trustee Dodge.
No.
Trustee Calandrello.
No.
Trustee Malani.
You're voting either for the concerts or against the concerts?
You already voted.
I already voted, but
did
I
he?
can vote twice.
Oh, he just.
Oh, you did, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. He just looked confused.
Trustee Katsinas.
Yes.
Because it's Cook County, he doesn't vote twice.
Mayor Pico.
Aye, motion carries 4-3. That's a good point, Trustee Dodge.
Resolution regarding 2021 property tax levy.
Mr. Chairman.
So this is a resolution regarding a property tax levy. And I noticed that the motion isn't in here.
Yeah.
So I don't know why there's not a motion in here, but there should be a motion.
There is.
So
It's in the Legistar, or it's Granicus.
it's not showing up on mine.
Do you want it?
Then we should take it off the agenda.
Yeah, I'm not getting one. So I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Malani.
Resolution number, please.
2040.
I move to approve resolution number 2040 entitled Resolution Regarding 2021 Property Tax Levy.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Fenton?
Since this is a very jumbled resolution, it's dealing with a whole bunch of different things. And the thing that bothers me is that anything to do with taxes, tax levy, income tax, sales tax, blah, 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 is all related to our budget. We haven't had a budget meeting yet, so I don't understand why we're discussing what our intentions may or may not be with the tax levy, which is a budget item. For all the time I've been on the board, that's when we discuss stuff like this. Are we going to decrease taxes, raise taxes, charge taxes on, light bulbs or whatever else? And I think we have to look at the village board as a household. And this household has 2 incomes. It has sales tax revenue and has property tax revenue. Currently, our sales tax revenue is down in the toilet. And so we can't claim unemployment. We don't get a stimulus check. I know we're getting screwed by the county, we're getting, screwed by the county on the CARE Act money. And I totally agree with that part of the resolution. But to make a commitment at this point in time about what we're going to do with the property tax levy seems premature when we haven't even discussed the budget. And to take our 2 incomes, one is already way down. We have no way of supplementing it. And we've got another one that's steady. I'm not for raising taxes at all, don't get me wrong, but how can we say that we're going to possibly decrease something when we don't know what our revenues and expenditures are for 2021. So I just think this is premature, and based on that, I would like to entertain a motion to table this item, or at least table that portion of the resolution till after we start the budget hearings and then redo it. I mean, we've never done anything like this in a resolution. Granted, you can always do whatever you want to do, but it just seems premature when we don't know those numbers, unless somebody else has been privileged to all this information and we just haven't gotten it. So my motion would be to table the item about the tax levies at least.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I'm voting on tabling this motion. Call the roll.
Mr. Mayor, I have a comment on the motion.
Trustee Calderon?
George, don't we have a budget meeting next board meeting, which is 2 weeks? Or budget discussion on the update of the numbers at least?
So on the August 17th Committee of the Whole, we'll be doing our mid-year financial review. So it'll be, as it says.
So we'll have a better knowledge base and factual base of how bad COVID's hitting the village. Because I heard numbers of 8 million to 4 million. I apologize, I don't know which one it was. But we'll know more in detail how bad COVID's hitting the village of Orland Park in 2 weeks.
Yep, we're gonna present information for the first 6 months of this fiscal year. And we're also going to present our proposed budget calendar for how we're going to rolling out the budget process this year.
So everything about budget that we're going to start rolling is starting in 2 weeks. There's really no reason why we couldn't delay this decision.
That's a policy decision.
So it's a policy, but there's really no work between now and then. It's going to be pushed back because we're delaying this for 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're not. We are just with the beginning stages of budget preparation. So
I'm going to put my so yes or no on that one. There's nothing going to be delayed if we push this back 2 weeks. There's no harm in the village if we push this back 2 weeks.
Again, it's really just a policy decision at this point. Whatever you want to do.
I'm going to take that as yes. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on tabling the motion? So the vote is to table this motion. Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton?
Aye.
Trustee Calderon?
Aye.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
No.
Trustee Katsinas?
No.
Trustee Malani?
No.
Mayor Pico?
No. Are there any comments on the resolution?
Mayor Pico?
Trustee Dodge?
So regarding the main resolution, a couple of questions for staff, and then I'll propose an amendment to a couple of sections. So, Mr. Walsh, what exactly does a resolution of a municipality accomplish? It's my understanding ordinances are essentially local law.
Correct.
Right? What's a resolution?
A resolution is a formal expression of an opinion or a policy by the municipality that's adopted by a vote, and it's usually in writing, but doesn't, like an ordinance, doesn't have the force of law.
Okay, so it's essentially an official statement of will or policy or perspective, correct? Okay. And I guess, you know, as I sit here, I would, there's things in here that I would like to talk about, and I'm going to propose an amendment in a second. Let's see if we can't get this to a good place. So, Mayor Peacock, would you prefer if I just make it a formal motion or describe what I want to put in the motion? What would the board prefer? Make a formal motion?
Formal motion.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move to amend this resolution, and of the 35 whereas statements, we strike all but 19 through 25. Please let me read them into the record. Whereas the state of Illinois has reduced the local government distributive fund, I'd like to keep that whereas. Whereas the state of Illinois has reduced the sharing to municipalities from the personal property replacement tax, I think we should keep that. Whereas the state of Illinois has received $4.9 billion from COVID-19 from the CARES Act, and which included approximately $1.4 billion distributed directly to the city of Chicago and 5 counties, with $3.5 directly to the state. Keep that. Whereas, according to the federal government, over $1.5 billion in COVID-19 aid was earmarked for government entities of less than 500,000 residents, which would clearly include Orland. Next one, whereas $3.5 billion distribution, right now the state is not distributing as much as we would like. Let's keep that. Whereas municipalities in Cook and Will, including the Village of Orland Park, are specifically excluded by the state of Illinois from receiving these funds. And whereas on a per capita basis, all of these restrictions amount to over $9 million in funds directly taken from Orland Park. Second part of my recommended changes would be to modify Section 2, so it would read, the village president and board of trustees hereby direct the village manager and village staff to produce a fiscal year 2021 budget that includes an option to reduce the village's property tax. I would move to strike the entirety of Section 3, and that would be the formal motion. I'd like to make a comment if there's a second.
Second.
Any comments on the amendment?
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Dodge?
Just that I think it's important for the people of Orland Park to know an awful lot of money was allocated to the state of Illinois intended for municipalities like the Village of Orland Park, and it certainly is bothersome that both the state of Illinois and the county of Cook appear to be keeping those funds, and they're not necessarily doing the will of the United States Congress. I find that wrong, and so I would be more than happy to support a reduced resolution or a new resolution specifically going to those points.
Any other comments on the amendment? Call the roll.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Fenton?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
No.
Trustee Katsinas?
No.
Trustee Malani?
No.
Mayor Pico?
No. Amendment fails. Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Calandrello?
I propose an amendment to Section 3, please. So it will read as the following. The village president and the board of trustees of the Village of Orland Park requests that the other governmental agencies that levy property taxes, including School District 135, 146, District 230, Morgan Valley School District, the Orland Park Fire District, the Orland Park Public Library, the Orland Park, Orland Township, and all county entities related lower their property levies in 2021, if possible, without cutting essential services in order to provide economic relief to its constituents.
Do I hear a second?
I'll say second just to put it to a vote.
Any comments?
Just to
Well, I have one, sorry. Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Fenton?
This would be to Trustee Calandrello, I guess. So you're saying that everything else would stay, but just a change in Section 3?
Yes, I mean, I think there's some issues, and I'll talk about those in this resolution, but I feel like this at least helps these boards out. I think we all here would like to lower taxes when possible, but sometimes, as I was talking to my mother-in-law who works in school districts, not any related to here, is holding the line on that will be tough because of all the different requirements. So yes, in short, yes, it would just deal with that section. I feel like we need to, yes, we want to cut taxes when possible, but we also don't want to have school children not being taught. We also don't want to have firemen not being out on calls. You know, we are not the boards in those, and I don't think anyone can say that we know all those boards' budgets in detail. So with all that, that's why I like to put that caveat there. I think it's a responsible thing to do.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Malani?
could we get a clarification on the exact wording that you wanted to use again? I didn't catch the whole thing.
All you're changing is from entities also lower their property tax levies if possible in 2021 in order to without cutting essential services in 2021 in order to provide economic relief to its constituents.
Okay, so just
So you're
adding-
inserting if possible without cutting essential services.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Fenton?
Wouldn't that apply then to us also? Or would that have to be in a different section?
And this is the amendment we're talking about, which is section 3.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Dodge.
Appreciate the spirit of Trustee Calandrello's amendment. I would intend to vote no on the amendment because, quite frankly, I think that we should broadly stick to our own lane, let these other boards do what they do. I think the voters are generally smart enough to figure out that it's incumbent on those boards to be maximally efficient with taxes. So my preference is to keep this very focused on us and the state and our neighbors, and our community certainly knows how to tell those other respective boards what they think about their policy, given that they're duly elected in their own right. So my intention is to vote no on the amendment.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Healy.
I have to disagree a little bit with Trustee Dodge's comment in the fact that most of the people I know would tell me that each of these boards that were taxed too much by them, that the level of service is there. And I think it's a rare opportunity that we get to send a message to them on behalf of our constituents to be better fiscal managers of the people's money. And lowering taxes is, we can't mandate them to do anything, but we want to just send a message, an unequivocal message, not going back and forth on, you know, if you can please try or anything. It's got to be just a direct message. You're spending too much, lower taxes. The cost of a bailout of Illinois, I thought I heard, was some tremendous $1 billion, and that's a result of, over the years, waste and everything. At some point, all these things should be addressed. And I think we should send a message, as you say, to all Cook County related entities and to lower property taxes. I'm all for that. These people, it's a time of crisis for small business. We need to send them messages that we're going to get back to normal. We have confidence in what we're doing. We're not afraid of anything. And we're not afraid to tell people, hey, your tax is too much, lower it. We've never done that in Illinois, and it's about time we did. Thanks.
Mayor Pico?
Trustee Dodge.
Again, certainly appreciate the spirit of Trustee Healy's comments. I guess we're going to have to agree to disagree. I think it's inappropriate for this board to cast a vote to tell other entities that essentially tax the same residents. The official policy per Mr. Walsh is, we think you're not running your board or your entity well, you need to reduce taxes. I quite frankly, I disagree with that perspective. If indeed we all as individuals wanted to make a political comment, please, with all due respect, do it on your time and your dime, because I won't be part of putting the Village of Orland Park logo on what looks to be an inherently political document. If, again, we want to narrow it down to very specific, practical, provable, factual issues of the United States Congress authorized funds that should come to Orland Park, and God love them, the state of Illinois and the county of Cook are keeping, quote unquote, our money, the people of Orland Park need to understand we're fighting that battle. I'm just trying to narrow the scope here so it looks like a community solve. So again, I appreciate the spirit and comments that was offered. I'm not there.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments on the amendment? So the amendment is to insert in section 3 if possible without cutting essential services. Call the roll.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
No.
Trustee Dodge.
No.
Trustee Healy.
No.
Trustee Katsinas.
No.
Trustee Malani.
No.
Mayor Pico.
Aye. Motion fails 5-2. any other comments on the first, the original resolution?
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Calandrello.
Thank you for your support on our last vote. I just think there's a lot of things in here. I think there's 5 topics. Getting our COVID aid our right amount, definitely in for that. Getting some of our LGDF back, definitely. Is there too many government entities? 100%. So why don't we talk about, and maybe I'll make an amendment about adding a task force to talk about eliminating some of our other government entities, maybe absorbing the library district or absorbing some township entities. Those are things that I think we all agree on. I feel like there's a brain dump here and there's way too much here. So also focusing on our house, our village house, is in 2 weeks we're going to talk about the budget. We're going to know exactly what's going on, how bad we're hit. I never question the motives of anyone up here, but it's just not a good time, and I'm not sure why this is. It's not a good time for this. I don't know what the purpose is, so I'm not going to tell why someone put this up here. But it's just way too much. A lot of good things in here, but a lot of bad things. When I've never voted to raise the tax levy, we haven't raised it in 9 years. 7%. I know you put 7% in here, or 6.8% of your property tax levy goes to the village. We're being very good stewards, and Mr. Mayor and I, we've agreed on all those things already since we've been together for three and a half years. So I'm all about making sure we're good stewards. This is way too much, and way too much in there, and that's why I'm voting no. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Malani.
I think we're always trying to find a way to be fiscally responsible for our residents, and I really think what we're trying to do is make our resolution or our statement that we're trying to do the best we can to do so. Our levy's been flat for over 8 years, and I feel that lowering it, we can show our residents that we care, that we understand that they've had rough 2020, and that we can still provide services like we have in the past. And as it's stated in the board packet, all we're asking staff to do is to do the best they can to provide a budget that is capable of lowering the tax levy. Maybe we'll find out that maybe we can't, maybe there isn't a way, but we can still try our best to find a way. And, however, as we've talked about here, we're only a small part of the overall tax problem that our residents face. We can't rely on the county. We can't rely on the state to provide any relief. And, we really need the support of all of our local taxing bodies to really make an impact. And as we've already heard, some people will tell us to stay in our lane. We've heard that before. But I'm really hoping that this resolution, that they'll willingly hear our message and act according for our residents. So, thank you.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Fenton.
this question, I guess, is for you. I guess I don't understand why we are putting a resolution forward about reducing the tax levy when that's something that we can discuss in 2 weeks. Why does it have to be in a resolution?
Is that your comment?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
Mayor Pico?
Trustee Dodge.
Just final comment. Again, appreciate the spirit of the healthy exchange and dialogue. As I read the original Section 2, this would be a statement of policy that includes a reduction in the village property tax levy. And the reason I bring that up is perhaps it's just a nuance, but I think that that's a pretty specific direction as opposed to looking at any options as was recently alluded to. And again, just closing comments. I mean, there's a number of things in here that I'd be more than happy to support, but its breadth and range and the fact that it feels like a political statement, and it becomes then a statement of the Village of Orland Park Board, and we're elected here to represent the people of Orland Park. And I can tell you from my chair and from the folks I'm talking to, this does not represent the collective greatest good for the greatest number will of the people of Orland Park. So with that, I get it. I understand. We all want to make a political statement. I'm not doing it under a Village of Orland Park logo, so my intention is to vote no. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Healy.
I respect Trustee Dodge's respecting our differences or whatever, but it's a crisis time for the country with the COVID. And I feel I'm doing this more as a business person. I don't believe there's a political element to my decision-making with it. But there's a crisis time for businesses that are going out of business. We have relatives that are struggling financially. We see the state basically, I don't rob us of this money that we're due. I see COVID money and that, trying to help out, trying to keep jobs, trying to keep a positive thing on getting people's psyches and all that back on track, back in a positive way. And I think I look at this thing as representative of the people saying we're fighting back at getting our house in order, maybe a new way of doing business, a trimmer way of doing business. And I think it's good business to lower taxes. And I think that's good for both parties. All parties, I mean.
Any other comments? So this is direction to staff, to answer Trustee Fenton's question, to find a way to lower property tax levies within the budget process. So that's what this is, direction to staff. This year we've provided a number of programs to help businesses and residents, including the Small Business Tax Sharing Program, Shop Orland Program, the Shop Auto programs, and a bunch of other incentives that we've done to try and help them in COVID. I've also been hearing Trustee Calandrello talk about the flat levy and the 7% for 3+ years. What people don't know is that the village 20 years ago represented only 5% of your tax bill, actually less than 5% of your tax bill 20 years ago. So it has gone up relative to other taxing bodies. At the same time, while we've kept ours flat, others have continued to increase their levies. I think that currently, the Village of Orland Park as a percentage of revenues we're taking a hit. Taking a much bigger hit than other governmental taxing bodies, and our residents are taking a huge hit. Many of our residents, we're all in the same storm, but we're all in very different boats. And I think it's important that not just us, but all of the taxing bodies look to try and help solve this property tax crisis. Yeah, we all need to put pressure on the state of Illinois too, but we also need to look at home and see how much we can do. And whatever little bit we can all do collectively makes a difference for our residents. So I think that's extremely important. So we are looking out for our residents. That's part of our job, is to look out for our residents, because our residents are served by many different entities, including the state and the county, which is why we talk to them as well. So that's why that we're requesting that other government entities do the same, is that they look to tighten their belts a little bit. Every little bit helps. Whatever little bit we find, if everybody finds a little bit, it's all going to help. So that's why I'll be supporting this resolution. Call the roll.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
No.
Trustee Dodge.
No.
Trustee Calandrello.
No.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye. Motion carries 4-3. Non-scheduled citizens and visitors, Cindy Spica. And you have 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Cindy Spica. I live at 8816 Clearview Drive and have been a resident of Orland Park for 6 months now. Good evening, Mayor, trustees, and residents of Orland. I am a nurse practitioner or first responder and have been in healthcare for 38 years. I have worked throughout the pandemic as an essential worker since day one. I have gone into isolation rooms in full garb, including gown, N95 mask, hair covering, face shield, gloves, scrubs, and shoe covers. I have held the hands of the dying COVID victims and have worked with physicians and nurses who have contracted and survived the virus. I lost my mother-in-law to the virus, a 78-year-old nursing home patient who lost her battle after 16 days on life support. I felt compelled to have my 3 minutes at the podium here after I witnessed the circus of millennials that took the mic at the board meeting on July 6th, condemning you and the trustees for proceeding with your plan to reopen our village. I was outraged to witness the baristas from Starbucks trying their best to act as an adult and make statements, but truthfully being outright rude and disrespectful of you and the other board members. They have no clue what healthcare workers, police, fire, and military go through on a day-to-day basis during normal times, much less a pandemic. First responders run into burning buildings, gunfire, and are exposed to death, danger, and disease every day. I was embarrassed by their sophomoric antics, barging into the meeting room multiple times and their jeering in the vestibule after each bitter, angry, and in my opinion, embarrassing speech they gave. If these young people are our future, we are in serious trouble. Your response and closing statement at that meeting was factual and respectful, and I applaud you for your composure after their unwarranted attacks on your personal judgment and character. It was also unfair of these individuals to attack you and the other trustees because 3 of the village employees had tested positive for coronavirus. Can anyone truly say where these individuals contracted the virus? I doubt it, yet these millennials chose to attack you in a public forum, blaming you and only you for the 3 positive COVID cases in our village. In my opinion, it was disgraceful. I've been impressed with the way you've continued to share facts and science via YouTube videos on a regular basis, and as a healthcare provider, I am in awe of your understanding of COVID as a lay person. Your plan to keep our village and its residents safe while moving toward reopening our businesses, improving our economy and recreation in this very trying time is admirable, and it must be done. Your common sense approach gives us all hope for a normal future. I want to thank you and the trustees for the Taste of Orland. I was able to attend on Saturday and was impressed by the social distancing and other safety measures that were in place. It was refreshing to see our residents enjoy some summer fun. Many people even sat in the rain to enjoy listening to the band. I would imagine being the mayor of Orland is no easy task, and I want to thank you and the trustees for all of your hard work. I'm truly honored to be a resident of this great village. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else here to speak? Board comments. Trustee Fenton.
I'd just like to once again wish Chief McCarthy a great retirement. I know he's been excited, he got some new clothes. He went out and bought a brand new car for the first time in 46 years. So I was teasing him, he needs to get a little peace sign to hang from the rearview mirror. And also I'd like to wish Interim Chief Mitchell all the best. You have a great staff to work with, and I know they respect you, and I know you respect your position, and good luck with everything, and carry on.
Trustee Dodge.
Thank you. So echo Kathy's comments about the chief. Was out of town visiting some relatives, so I certainly will connect with the chief to congratulate him and thank him again personally. Joe, good luck. I'll try to make sure that every now and then I take the mask off so people can see that you and I haven't switched positions, right? Because I think we look the same if I put my glasses on. And then, you know, just broadly, I just want to thank the board for a healthy discussion tonight focused on public policy. You know, it's too easy for government agencies to get into political fights, and it takes on a much more intense personal tone. And so tonight is the way it ought to work. Ideas were brought up, ideas were kicked around, they were voted on, we move on. So with that, I appreciate the way that we've always tried to do things in Orland Park. I've been, I guess, elected 8 times by the people of Orland Park, and I'm going to continue to do what I think is the right thing for the greatest number of folks and the greatest good, and try and keep this to a very civil quorum as we go marching forward. So tonight was a great evening. Thank you.
Trustee Calendro.
I'd also like to repeat congratulations to Chief McCarthy on his retirement. I know he's not here, so his ears are ringing, but also congratulations on new Chief Joe. He's got big shoes to fill, but I know he will be able to do it, so I wish him good luck on his technically first official work day. I know it's his day 2 in some hours, so I want to congratulate him, and also want to congratulate staff on doing the best they can with the Taste. I know Ray put a lot of time with the pods and all that good jazz, and like we may have a disagreement about having the event. You guys did the best you could with it, what you had to do, and I salute you for that, and I don't want to see that overtime. I'm just joking. But also, breaking news, I know this is a public record, so I can talk about this. We finally have the order from the federal judge regarding our preliminary restraining order, which was denied. This is public record, so I'm not violating any Open Meeting Act or any confidentiality. So it was published on Saturday. It's a 28-page decision. As the only attorney on the board, I felt it was necessary to bring it up. Well, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I think this covers my opinion of the suit and the judge's opinion of the suit. On page 14, so there's 3 claims. The judge writes the plaintiffs, which would be the village, had a negligible likelihood of success on the merits of the case. Plaintiffs, again, the village, had not demonstrated a likelihood of success in the merits. So just in case negligible, so it's a legal word, so I want to define it by Webster, is so small or unimportant or of so little consequence as to warrant little or no attention. So that's what the judge believes our lawsuit is. I can read more quotes from her, but this is an independent judge, a federal judge, not a county judge elected by the county residents. This is picked by actually our senators. And one last tidbit I want to read from the last page, her summary. Plaintiffs, which includes the village and others, and I think one's here, I'm sorry that you lost. Plaintiffs have made no showing that they're experienced substantial harm as a result of the executive order at this time, or that they're likely to experience substantial harm in the near future. It goes on, I'll pick up at the end. Even if plaintiffs have shown some greater than negligible likelihood of prevailing on the merits, the balance of harm so heavily weighs so heavily against them as to deny this request. So I think it's safe to say that the judge thinks this lawsuit has no merit, and that's why, our taxpayers spent, I want to say, $66,000 on getting laughed by the judge. So I thought it was appropriate. This is public knowledge that I bring that to the public today. Thank you.
Trustee Healy.
Today, I attended a party for Jennifer Peterson. It was her last day. Jennifer was here, came along with the mayor, and she was here a little over 3 years. And I know when she first got here, she endured the abuse of a jaded system. Over time, people came to know and respect her, recognize her for her abilities and her charm. She had a positive attitude that helped us and helped me through the early days of being a trustee. We wish her well in her future endeavors, and the village will miss her. I just also like to thank the staff for couldn't be a better job at that taste. The planning of it was superb. The execution was even better. And we wanted to just thank again the people that came out, and they had a great time, and we look forward to having them again and at the concerts also. So please continue supporting the village of Orland Park. Thanks.
Trustee Katsinas.
Thank you. What I wanted to say, what the Taste of Orland represented to me, was allowing people to have a choice. You had a choice to decide whether or not you wanted to go, and if you were there, you could see how the village, thank you, Ray, went to great extremes to protect the people that were there and to ensure they had a good time. So it's up to you whether or not you want to go, but you had the choice. I feel that's inherent in our right as Americans to have a choice while being respectful to your fellow citizen. That was demonstrated to the highest degree at Taste of Orland, from the staff to the participants, to our residents, to our workers. Hats off to everyone who partaked in that. But we're offering a choice. I feel people should have a choice. If you choose to go there and don't like what you see, you're free to leave, but you have a choice. So many of our choices seem to be taken away, or we're shamed for those. That's not good. I think mental health issue is a real problem. A lot of it is because our lives are not normal. So anything we can do in a safe environment to try to add some normalcy, whether it be to the seniors that we saw there that we're so grateful, or to the younger children that were in the audience. It's our job to do that, again, in a safe and respectful way, which was accomplished. So thank you again, and I welcome our interim chief, Joe Mitchell. Thank you.
Trustee Malani.
Thank you. Well, what a great weekend we had. We had a very safe and a very well-attended Taste of Orland, given the circumstances. The people came out, they enjoyed themselves, and they supported their village and the local businesses, and that's what it was all about, supporting our residents, our businesses, and the village. I'd like to thank all of our staff that made this happen, because we couldn't have done it without your hard work and all your effort that you put into it. It was great to see how many people volunteered and came out to work the event. We also had an opportunity to honor our veterans. It was well received by everyone, and we were all very thankful for their service. We also witnessed the end of an era, with Chief McCarthy officially retiring and our new chief is in place. And the week kept getting better. Tonight, we approved 2 free concerts for people to once again get out and have some fun in a way that they feel safe. We've also asked staff to work on lowering our tax levy for our residents, and I look forward to seeing the results. And if you missed the auditions, which were today, there's one more opportunity to audition for the Summer Children's Theater production of Pinocchio tomorrow from 12 to 3 at the Cultural Center. And if you got kids that are interested, feel free to bring them by. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been a tough handful of days for me personally, with some of the losses in the village. Chief McCarthy, who's been fantastic to me since I've been here, has been giving me excellent guidance, excellent counsel. I know that Interim Chief Joe Mitchell is going to do a great job. He's also an outstanding man, but the chief will be missed. Also, as Trustee Healy pointed out, my assistant Jennifer decided to move back to Wisconsin for personal reasons, and she will be very sorely missed. She did a fantastic job the last 3 years and was integral in helping me be successful over the last few years. One thing I want to mention is, we had a lot of discussion tonight, and basically the way the Village of Orland Park works is we vote on things. We don't dictate things one person. We vote as a legislative body. That's the way all legislative bodies are supposed to work. That hasn't really been the case, not just here, but in many other places in the country as well. So I think it's important to note that that's what we do here. I think we had one day where there was an executive order for a curfew, and we came right back the next day and voted on it as a board, because that's the way it should be. Votes don't always go your way. I certainly know that from my first 2 years. But it takes 4 votes to pass things. That's what we've done on every issue, including the taste, which passed 5-2. I want to thank staff for developing an outstanding and executing an outstanding plan for the Taste of Orland. You guys did a great job. There were a lot of happy people at the Taste every day. Every vendor I talked to was thrilled. Every attendee was thrilled. The performers were ecstatic and they couldn't thank us enough for letting them come out and play for the audiences that were there. It was great, it was safe, and it was a lot of fun. And the bottom line is, I've never seen, even at the Taste, I've never seen people having that much fun at the Taste and really, really enjoying themselves. You could just see that this was a sense of normalcy which they've missed. Trustee Fenton, I want to thank you. I know you didn't vote for the Taste and didn't support it, but I really want to thank you for coming out to honor Chief McCarthy. I know it meant a lot to him. I think that was a very classy thing to do, so thank you very much for doing that.
You're welcome.
I also want to thank Trustees Healy, Katsinas, and Malani, not only for voting for the Taste, but coming out for Chief McCarthy and attending the Taste, but they were out there talking to vendors and attendees a lot, and they were great ambassadors for the village out there, which I really appreciate. I know it takes courage to stand up for what you believe is right, especially when you're getting personally attacked, which I think Trustee Katsinas, you alluded to in some regards, and none of these decisions are easy, and I don't think anyone ever planned for the decisions that have had to be made. So, thank you very much. As I've said from the beginning, we can keep people safe and continue to open up. I think Orland Park's been doing that well. We've been doing it safely, but we've also been opening up. As I've said before too, Americans are smart people. We can figure out problems and we can figure these things out. We can solve them. At times like this, it's really easy to just say cancel everything. It's easy to say no to everything. That's the safe place to be. What's hard is to take the time to solve the problem and figure out how to host an event and do it safely. Our staff did that. and we are Orland Park, and that's what we do. With that, I'll take a motion, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Fenton.
move to go in executive session for A, approval of minutes, B, setting a price for sale or lease of village property, C, pending litigation against, affecting, or on behalf of the village when found by the board that such action is probable or imminent.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Calendrola.
Aye.
Trustee Ely.
Aye.
Trustee Malani.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye. Okay, we'll take a little bit of a break to clear the room and give us all a break, and then we'll go into executive session.